act is for protection of the forests as a natural heritage. And if you see they have added the preamble which talks about like increasing forest cover and its carbon sequestration benefits. But if you see the sections where the amendment happened, these are all actually weakening the existing safeguards. So first of all, there is no need for such exemptions. You are giving exemptions to activities which are presently regulated under the Forest Conservation Act. For example, this amendment has proposed to exempt 0.1 hectares of forest land alongside roads and railways from the requirement of any forest clearance. So under this section 2 of Forest Conservation Act is the most important part of the Forest Conservation Act. It says for any non-forest activity in any forest area, the state has to take permission from the central government. Okay, so this process is called forest clearance in common language. That forest clearance means the central government has given approval. It has also suggested to remove the requirement of forest clearance for any strategically or like projects of defense from the requirement of forest clearances. There are also exemptions from requirement of forest clearance for lands for public utility projects up to 5 hectares. So public utility within a forest, it can be anything. It can be a bus terminal, it can be a bank's office, it can be any infrastructure, if we say. So this kind of amendments are actually dangerous. In the present law also, these activities are not prohibited. So basically the process is you have to take permission from central government for such activities, and it is not like there's no delay as well. I don't know why they have proposed it, because all the defense projects or any other government projects, they are getting clearances at a very reasonable rate. Forests are not just standing trees, they are also habitat of different wildlife. They are also repository of our Indian biodiversity. And if you see like in world over, across all the mega diverse countries, India has 3 biodiversity hotspots. One is the Northeast India, one is the Western Ghats, and other is the Sundaland, which is in the Andaman. And when you bring the road through it, and then you want to create infrastructure along the roadside, and also it is 100 kilometers exemption for any defense related or security projects. So if you see the map, then I think the entire Northeast India and the entire most of the Himalayan region, Andaman, so all the biodiversity rich areas will be completely exempted. So there is no need for exemptions, because these areas also they have high like population of endemic flora and fauna. Endemic means you found only in this place, nowhere else in the world. This will be detrimental to the wildlife and also the livelihood of people who are dependent on the forest. Zoo or safari are not in situ conservation methods. So in situ is where you conserve the wildlife in the natural habitat. But zoo safaris, first, they are not in situ, they are ex situ conservation efforts. Whenever you give those kind of infrastructure, then you have to create roads to facilitate transport. Then you have to bring transmission line for electricity. Then you have to treat wastewater. then you have to give parking spaces. So there's a huge impact, there's a cumulative impact of those things. Conservationists are clearly against it because it is not a conservation amendment. It is more like amendment to facilitate diversion of forest for infrastructure. And lastly, this, if you see the amendment, it is also contrary to the India's international agreements. Our constitution, which puts the onus on the state to safeguard the forest and wildlife, they are trustee of the land under public trust doctrine. There is a principle which says that the state is trustee of the natural resource for the public interest. And lastly, it is also against the national forest policy, where it says that any commercial activity should be given secondary importance to the conservation benefits of the forest. Clearing national forest to create some other plantations are not the way forward. You have to first preserve your own natural forest, and then you should also improve forest cover, but it should not become at a cost natural forest.